Hey everybody, good morning. It's good to be with you again this week. We're talking about God's love. We're talking about God's grace as His evidence because He loves us. Love is His big absolute attribute, but we know God loves us because He gives us grace. And out of grace comes mercy, and out of mercy comes forgiveness. There's a ripple effect that comes out of the wonder of God's incredible loving nature and the person that He is. But we're talking about grace. We said a couple of days ago how unrealistic grace is, about the guy who went and employed a whole bunch of people and they all worked for a different amount of hours, and yet he paid them all the same. That's unrealistic. That's not good business. But fortunately, God doesn't see love as a business transaction. He sees it as a gift. But one of the other things that I notice about this thing of God's love is it's completely and often unexpected. Who would have thought that a criminal hanging on a cross, he admitted that he had done wrong. He admitted that he was getting the just punishment for which he really deserved. And yet Jesus came along and gave him that which was completely unexpected. He gave him grace. He gave him heaven. And I guess in a beautiful sort of way, that thief on the cross that died after a miserably, horrible life was the first guy to walk through the gates of heaven in the new dispensation of Jesus' love for us in heaven. It's just unexpected. Where love appears and God shows His grace in the most unexpected of ways. It was unexpected that David gave Mephibosheth grace. It was unexpected that Joseph would give forgiveness and grace to his miserable brothers, the ones who had sold him as a slave to the Egyptians, the ones who had taken his coat of many colors and covered it with blood and taken it back to their father and declared Joseph to be dead and put their father through such pain and through such sadness. And yet, and the most unexpected thing is that Joseph, at a time when he was able to deal with them, at a time when he could punish them, at a time when he could get revenge, he didn't take revenge. Instead, he gave grace. That's pretty unexpected. And I guess on a human sense and in a human way, wouldn't it be great if we could do the same thing? Wouldn't it be great if we could just by unexpected acts of kindness and forgiveness give grace to those who have wronged us? Wouldn't it be incredibly unexpected to that person to wake up in the day and to have a letter from us to say, you know what, I think you're awesome. We may not have agreed about a whole bunch of stuff, but can we be reunited because of God's grace? Wouldn't that just be an amazing thing? It would certainly be unexpected. When Joseph spoke with his brothers and he said to them, come near to me. Now he's the next in charge to Pharaoh. He had their lives in his hands. I wonder what they expected to hear. I wonder if they expected Joseph to say, hey, you guys, now I've got you, hey. Now I've got you. Do you remember when you stripped me of that beautiful robe and you covered it in blood and gave it to my dad and you took me and you sold me as a slave? Do you guys remember that? And do you know what happened as a result of that? That I was a slave in Egypt and was beaten and starved and had to work my butt off, all because of you. And when they would have drawn close to him, which he told them to do, he said, come close. I wonder what else he said to them. I wonder if he said, let me just remind you of the pain that I suffered at the hands of Potiphar. He lied, his wife lied about me. And then I suffered even more grossly when they put me in prison and I was a miserable prisoner for all those years and people forgot all about me. Do you guys know about that stuff? Let me just remind you of what your sin caused me to have to go through. And they would have come close and they would have been shivering in their shoes if that's what he said. But he didn't say that. He simply said, you wanted it for evil, but God intended it for good. Those are words of incredible grace. And only people who understand the big picture, only people who understand the sovereignty of God are able to do that kind of stuff. What is it that caused the Good Samaritan to step off his donkey and get down in the gutter with that man? He didn't even know the guy. If he did, he would have hated him because the Samaritans were a hated people But this man got off his donkey, and it was love that got him off his donkey, but it was grace that put him in the gutter, and he helped that man when he didn't have to do it. And then Jesus gives us the punchline to that whole story, and he says to us, now, you go and do the same. People, only big people can do this kind of stuff. Only big people can get off their donkey and get into the gutter and give grace. Only big people can say to people like Mephibosheth and the thief on the cross and a whole bunch of other people, come, die and sit next to me at the place of highest privilege. And I'm going to take you, you thief, as unexpected as it may be. I'm taking you to heaven with me. That is so unexpected. Is that what grace is all about? It surprises us wherever we see it. Great surprises of grace all over the Bible. Oh, today I hope that you have responded to the surprise of grace, that God has surprised you with the wonder of the grace that He has, the wonder of the grace that comes out of the very heart, the very nature, and the very essence of who God is. Think about that today. Man, that makes me feel good. You're going to have a good day. Bye now.